You want to know something that just really grinds my gears? People who steal other people's content. This is something that annoys me more than just about anything else, to be honest with you. And obviously, I'm in the position of being a content creator, so it affects me more personally than it does most people. But I would imagine as a viewer, it has to be kind of obnoxious as well. I've made a little outline here and broken this up into a couple sections of things I want to talk about. This is going to be a yapping video, but let's get into the first topic here. So this is something that I've been dealing with for actually a while, ever since I first started making content in 2022. The first time this happened to me was when I made my first ever Lego commentary video. Actually, I'm not sure if it was exactly my first. It was one of my first, like just a couple months after I started making videos. So I had around 2,500 subscribers. I put out a commentary video. It was one of my first ones to actually kind of blow up a little bit. And just a few days after I uploaded this, I realized that there was another content creator who basically took my video, stole my hook, took my topics, summarized them down, and created a short basically off of exactly what I had said. I'm talking like same phrasing, same words and everything. And the creator who copied me had around 70,000 subscribers at the time. And I was really annoyed, but like, what am I gonna do? I'm a small creator. I can't just call somebody out on this necessarily and have it do anything. So I just kind of left it alone. I told a couple of my friends about it and we joke about it to this day. To expand on this a little bit though, I wanna talk about video concept theft. There are a number of you guys who make content that everything you make is just a stolen concept or an idea from another creator. Like I'm talking entire channels, couple 100,000 subscribers or more, where you have not had an original idea. Most of your stuff is just copied from other people, maybe slightly tweaked so it seems a little bit more original. But this really frustrates me. Like, be original. Come up with your own ideas. You might think that other people don't notice, that they don't care, but content creators talk with each other. And you lose a lot of respect with your peers when you do stuff like this. Just as a side note here, I'm specifically talking about larger content creators stealing from other content creators, or especially small content creators. If you're a smaller channel and you're just getting your feet wet and you're trying to learn how to make videos, emulating bigger creators can be a really good way to learn how to make good videos. But eventually, once you figure that out, you have to grow out of that. You have to start coming up with your own stuff and differentiating yourself. I know that this is generally an issue across all of YouTube. I mean, there's tons of people who steal content from others. But being in the Lego space where, you know, we're all kind of part of a community, there's Lego that unites us and we all kind of talk with each other and interact with one another. I just want to call this out because it's something that is frustrating to me and it's frustrating to others. I think it's completely fine to be inspired by other people, but there are a handful of you that I'm convinced are just simply incapable of coming up with an original video idea. Like, I've actually had friends who are fellow content creators in the Lego space who have been open about sharing what videos they're working on with other people, only to have their idea directly stolen, rushed to completion, and uploaded by somebody else before they can even get their video out. That's ridiculous. You're telling me that you couldn't have come up with anything else to make at that point in time? You had to steal from somebody else? Like, it just sets the bar of respect so low. And then there's entire channels that are created off of the idea of just stealing from other people as well. Some people have brought up Funds Bricks, which is an account where they will go and see what somebody's uploaded. They'll copy their thumbnail concept, copy their video concept, and then just upload something like 3 days later to try and ride the wave of success of somebody else's video. But at the end of the day, if you're somebody that does this, I think you're just doing yourself a disservice. You might get views. And if that's all you care about, then I guess that's fine. But I'd like to think that as people who put our time and our effort into creating something for people to watch, you would want to have something that stands alone on its own merit and not just something that's like a Walmart discount version of somebody else's better video. Let's talk about the appropriate way to be inspired by somebody else. And I'm sorry if I sound condescending here, but some of you just don't seem to grasp this concept. First, you got to put your own spin on the idea. Take the concept and tweak it a little bit to make it original to you. Second, you should be open about where you got your idea from. Credit somebody in the description of your video, pin a comment, whatever. I don't really care as long as you actually put something out there that attributes to the original source of where you got your idea. Even in my most recent video on my main channel, where I made a video called $1 versus $1,000 Lego mech, I attributed credit to TD Bricks in the description. Did TD Bricks come up with $1 versus $1,000? No, this is a trope across all of YouTube that plenty of people have made videos in the same vein. But I got the idea to make my video from watching his upload from like a month ago now, and so I just decided to credit him. It does no harm to me. It lets him know if he watches it that I made a video inspired by his video. And I think at just a base level, it's simply respectful to do. And even if you want to directly copy an idea from somebody else, message the creator of the original video and just ask them if they're fine with it. I think these simple things really go a long way. Something that I've kept in mind throughout my time as a content creator, but especially within this last calendar year since I went full time, is that we are actually peers. In my last job, I had coworkers. I had people that I worked alongside to accomplish a similar goal, and we were all at a company where we were doing something together. YouTube is completely different. You're a one-man show, you're doing your own thing, and you're trying to make content that people are going to enjoy. And since you don't have coworkers, unless you've got some big brand and a bunch of people working for you, other content creators are your coworkers. They're your peers. You should have a certain desire for a baseline of respect between each other. I'm not saying you have to be best friends or anything, but you should at least act professionally. And if all you're doing is jacking ideas from your peers left and right, nobody's going to want to collaborate with you, nobody's going to respect you, and people are just not going to want to work with you. The other thing that seems to get directly copied pretty much daily, it seems, is thumbnail designs. I've seen content creators and viewers alike complaining that all Lego thumbnails look the same and they're just a reiteration of a TD Bricks thumbnail with a split screen. I don't fully agree with that. I'm actually going to make a full video about thumbnails. I've got the whole outline written. I'll do it, I don't know, at some point when I have time here, because this channel is not a priority for me. But I think as a creator, you really need to think about how this affects you. Maybe you will get a little bit more viewership or something from directly copying TD Bricks' yellow thumbnail with the left and right, and you're simply communicating a concept for the video. But at least put your own spin on it. Maybe use your own colors, come up with your own wording or your own ideas or something just to set yourself apart. I know I'm not the only one that thinks about brand identity in the space, but like, it's really important to consider, can somebody tell that the video is from you when they're watching your content? If somebody sees your thumbnail on the screen, do they know that it's coming from you, or do they think it's coming from somebody else? And if you're specifically copying TD Bricks with the yellow thumbnail format, you have to consider what a viewer might think when they click on your video expecting TD Bricks and then they get you. You might be making great stuff, but none of us have the same level of viewership as TD Bricks. So when somebody watches your video thinking you're TD and then they get something completely different, they're actually likely to leave. And if they don't leave and they watch your entire video, they may leave having no impression of who you actually are or whether or not they want to come back to your channel because nothing stood out to them as being different. I make the brightly saturated left-right split screen thumbnails on my channel. I also make some that are not exactly like that. But with those, I've come up with my blue and orange thing that I've been using for, I don't know, a year and a half now. And I know that people have said to me that that sets things apart slightly. It's not significant, but it could be something that becomes at least a little bit recognizable over time. I've started noticing that there's other channels that will directly copy my thumbnails down to like the exact colors. It's like they're taking an eyedropper tool and clicking on the screen to get the exact shade of orange or blue or whatever. It's mostly smaller content creators, but if you're a smaller creator and you're doing that, I just want you to know that it's not the colors in my thumbnail that make my videos successful. It's simply basic color theory. Pull up a color wheel, pick two colors that oppose each other, and you have contrast. That's how I came up with my idea. I don't own blue and orange just the same way that TD Bricks doesn't own yellow, but it creates a certain expectation if you're creating something that is intentionally trying to mimic exactly what somebody else does. Copy people if you want, but I'd really encourage you to try and think outside the box a little bit and come up with something that's a little bit more unique to your own style. If you want to stick around in this space for the long term, you need to become original and recognizable, because the moment your stuff stops hitting the algorithm the way it is currently, you're going to become completely forgettable, unrecognizable, and people are just not going to care about you anymore. Of course, this can happen to anyone. It could happen to me at some point, but you lessen the chances of that having such a significant impact if you can grow yourself a brand. The last thing I want to talk about is re-uploading people's content onto other platforms. There's a whole slew of videos out there that are telling people how to clip content and make it so that the algorithm on TikTok or whatever other platform you're posting stuff on can't recognize that the thing you're posting is just stolen. So people are taking clips of other people's videos, re-uploading them, and they actually are getting some views. Some people choose just to not care about this, but I personally have a big problem with it because it's theft. I don't like it when somebody takes something that I spent hours upon hours of working on, they just download it and re-upload it. So if you upload my content to another platform, I am going to come after you and I'm going to take your crap down. And I think every other content creator should view this seriously. This is an issue across all of YouTube. It's not just unique to the Lego space, and it's hard to combat. I mean, I filled out a form today to take down a TikTok account. It took me half an hour. I had to post links to all their videos, links to my stuff, proof that I own the things that I made. It is cumbersome, but I don't just want to sit by and let somebody else make money off of my content. I wouldn't recommend sitting around and dwelling on this and thinking about it all the time, but every now and again, it could be good to just take a look at things, see if people are stealing your stuff, and take it down. If nobody does anything about this, it's just going to become more of an issue over time as AI makes it easier for people to rip stuff, edit it without any effort, and just re-upload it somewhere else. Personally, I'm less annoyed by this issue than people who are established content creators that are directly stealing ideas and concepts from each other. But I think it's time to start calling people out on this. If you're a viewer, if you're a creator, and people are stealing from you and you notice it, comment on their stuff. Call them out publicly about it. Strike content. Do whatever you need to do. I really think it should just be discouraged. I fully recognize this entire thing was just a rant, but this is something that's been bothering me for the better part of a year and a half or even 2 years at this point, so here you go. Discuss in the comments, all that stuff. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I hope you have a good one. By the way, if you feel like this video is about you, it probably is. And if it isn't, perhaps you should ask yourself why you feel like it might be.